Good morning, everyone. We are starting with a few minutes of delay. Apologize for that. And we'll develop this morning the session in the panel of economy. Few people being here with us from different institutions of La Palma, University also. And we will starting with Matías González. You know him because he was with us last Saturday. Matías is a full professor in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria University, specializing in economy applied, as you know. I don't know more presentation because all of you knows
Thank you.
him. But I'm very glad to be here again, Matías. Thank you very much for sharing this part of the introduction about the economy panel. Thank you.
And then, okay. So good morning again. I am very happy to be here this second time. I hope our reflections this morning are of your interest. Last Saturday, I think it remained a couple of additional reflections to complete the picture of the set of trade-off that La Palma can face in order to dream the future, to define the sustainable development pathway. And as you are going later to discuss with people that belong to different institutions in La Palma, I would like to, thank you, I would like to stress aspects related to governance, because I think it's the key question, because we can dream the future, but we have to make the future, you have to push ahead the future you dreamed. So how to do it? Before, I also developed one slide about a question that I think is very insightful about the challenges of governance in the La Palma Island. For example, see the aspects related to the water cycle management. We are going to discuss that this afternoon, I know that. So this is not, I don't want to spoil the debate you are going to have this afternoon. The idea is just to introduce the relationship between such a complex problem and the governance perspective. If you ask some people maybe around here, they can say you that in La Palma, the households, the tourism sector, agricultural sector have water enough to attend their needs, for example, okay? But if you, I'm not sure that I got very good information. So many of you can say, yeah, man, you are wrong. So I, in advance, accept that maybe I am wrong. But I searched, for example, in the 2023 report of the Island Water Council, and I didn't find any information on aspects like investment in reducing water loss in distributing. I don't know the data for the La Palma Island, but for the Canary Islands, close to 50% of the water that goes to the grids to be distributed is lost during the distribution process. 50%. Leaks, different type of leaks, and and in general, it's the not invest in maintaining the water distribution grids. For example, I didn't see anything about the using, for example, of regenerated waters to, for example, irrigate platanera or banana in the island. So I think it's not casual that the idea is La Palma have enough available water, and the idea that we don't need to invest very much in avoiding loss or in getting non-conventional water sources. But if you plant this question, maybe the perspective can change. If you take into account the key role that water plays in terms of keeping ecosystem functioning in a proper way, maybe it's not clear. We are now having a very, very dry weather. The perspective of climate change for the future is even drier. And in this case, we have to develop this question. How we can think about and then take decisions about how water can help to keep the conservation status of the ecosystems that sustain La Palma life. With the information I have to now, so far, I think there is no studies estimating this. There is no inclusion of this perspective in the hydrological planning. So, well, when we put this in the context of the La Palma Sustainable Development for the future, the idea is what is the role of natural ecosystem, what we need to do in order to keep them healthy, why, and in the context of governance, which changes we have to introduce in it. So this is just, for example, this question. This is very important, no? Because of the volcano, they brought the desalination plant just temporarily. But the question now is, should those plants transform into the water planning in permanent sources of water for the island? And in this case, could we transform that conventional desalination plants in maybe renewable sources powered desalination plant? How to do it in order to, also decarbonize La Palma economy in the future and so on, no? So we have many questions to do about how to manage water cycle that, in my opinion, are not in the agenda for the next month, years. This is an example of a wider, this is an aspect that we can see in a wider way, considering governance issues for a sustainability future, for a sustainable future. Another kind of trade-off rise here. The idea is, yes, we need a governance frame able to push sustainability ahead, but to develop kind of governance process is not a magic question that we can invoke like, come governance to La Palma and tomorrow we have all problems solved. The question is governance is based on institutions which in turn are conditioned by social norms, by values, by beliefs. And we have to go a little bit in those aspects in order to know if when we say, yes, we have defined or we need to define a governance framework to push ahead sustainability, what we're talking about. And just 2-3 reflections, because you have many work to do later with other people that is around right now. So just 3-5 minutes more, just to give some hints about. When we think about the relationships between government in the island, I mean municipalities in the island government and so on, and then civil society, we can characterize this relationship attending different, let's say, paradigms. No? If you go to maybe US, the neoliberal paradigm in terms of, well, basically individuals are responsible by themselves of everything. So government just for defense and public order, but nothing to caring of people. Oh? And we have this question. For the bad and for the good, I will make a reflection about it in 1 minute. But on the other, we have to, I mean, this is almost the opposite. Like we have a government that decide everything about what is going on in society. So society just depend on government decision, but the organizational, I mean, the social organizational were weak, are not, there is no collective action, there is no capability from the society to really influence governmental decisions and so on. So, in my opinion, in our society, we are close to this. We are close to this. And then just a couple of reflections about what happened in La Palma with the volcano eruption. And I'm talking about something like not exactly in the middle, but a different paradigm in which a resilient society able to be organized and take their own decision interacting with the governments, but also creating decision-making process from the bottom of the society and so on. It is important, and this is lacking in our context. This is my hypothesis about what is going on here. We are not here, we're close here, and it's also lacking. So we practice more a defensive action than the properly collective action. Because what is the difference, in my opinion? Here, we act as groups that define our own interests, group interests, but not taking account a wider subject of thinking and working, which is the whole society, in this case, the whole island, for example. While collective action means the capacity to define a collective subject and exchange interest between different groups in order to define something that's upper and different than the sum of different groups. This is a new subject. This is the whole society and their challenges as a whole society. And so we are now more in this than in this. And some, in my opinion, just to problematize, to introduce problems in the reflection, if we think of what is going on in the situation after the La Palma volcano eruption, see, for example, the failure in the habitational solution. No? So the houses for people. So yeah, people felt, and I heard today the president of the island government using emphatically the sentence of giving them houses with the dignity they deserve. And I think it's something like people was complaining about the housing solutions that they gave after volcano, blah, 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 blah. So I'm here to make things different, apparently, or at least it is smart enough to be aware of what happened with you are doing things like this. One size fits all don't work. So the question is no. We have to look for solutions that shape or adapt to the different necessities that can rise in situation in which there is a heterogeneity. It's not just a homogeneous social fabric. And then, what happened? I'm sure that if you make an experiment, if you give people a habitational solution, a dwelling solution, without their involvement, and then you bring people to discuss, differently, to discuss which solution can be implemented, having into account that the public expenditure is constrained, so you don't have unlimited resources, so you have to sacrifice, every expenditure you have you make in habitational solution means or have opportunity cost in terms of other policies that are not going to push ahead and so on. Maybe the same solutions, but participated, are going to be now accepted. Because people, no, it's not the best solution, but it's my solution because I participated in it. So that's one of the lessons that I think can be learned. And it's important when we are joining in these tables and we are thinking in the sustainable development path for La Palma, and we are talking about development challenges. But which is the subject in the definition of development challenges? Who is going to define that? If people don't recognize in the diagnostic, in the definition of the challenges, it's difficult that people are going to accept whatever you propose them in terms of development for the future. So the question is between conformism and vanguardism, because somebody say, yeah, you cannot provide governance solution that don't take into account the norms, the values, the beliefs we are settled in the society. Yes. But if you just adapt governance to that, things are not going to change. On the other extreme, if you practice something like a vanguardism and you go very, very far from where people are, maybe just people say bye-bye. So the question is how you can balance respecting cultural heritage in terms of blah, 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 and then promote positive changes to move little by little the situation in that. And for that, the role of interplay organization like ¿cómo se llama? ADER La Palma is very important. So we are now have here with us several very important representation of different institutions, political institutions, social institutions in La Palma Island. I think it's a good opportunity to discuss with them about all these things and, of course, other things that you all can introduce. And you, of course, also, this is just a way to make the first pushing to the discussion. So I think, I don't know if you want to say something about, or directly I can introduce our guests and then.
I love everything that you said. Thank you so much. I just want to ask you if it is like a collective perspective, like if people think this way, or it's only your opinion, or are you representing an organization, a group, but how people feel about this?
No, I represent myself in this.
And
no,
how
yeah,
people
of course,
feel.
it's my perception. But the idea is sometimes, I think to search good solutions starts defining the problems properly. And I'm trying to contribute to focus in the very key aspects of the process that we have to in which we are going to work in. So that's all. I mean, this is just my perception of the.
Okay.
And maybe it's a not very well, I have to recognize, perception, because, I mean, well-grounded perception, because I don't live here, so I just, I'm interested in what happened in La Palma, but nothing else. So, oh, Michael.
With a microphone. Is there a water authority on the island now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ¿cómo se llama? El Consejo Insular de Aguas is this Island Water Council, is the water authority, no? And it has capabilities that come from the autonomy law, which is the, let's say, the constitution of the Canary Islands, more or less. No? So it's, yeah, have some competences and have an important capacity of decision about anything related to water.
And it has real authority over water issues?
Yeah.
How does it relate to the private ownership of water?
They have, for example, this year a budget of 15 million euros to invest in improving distribution grids or whatever. I mean, they invest in everything related to water system, water.
Can they make policies about water allocation?
Policies about water allocation. I think it's in the border between what they. I mean, there is a water law that regulate what they can do and not do. So yes, they have important competences, but subject to what the water law says. I mean, I don't have a detailed information about the discretionality they have to act in this.
So let me ask it in a different way. Is it perceived as an effective water management authority? Or?
I think yes. I mean, they are an effective authority in managing water.
Es pertinente hacer referencia de que hay una parte del agua en la isla que es privada y hay una parte que es pública y ellos rigen sobre todo en la parte pública y en lo que se puede hacer con el agua privada. Eso es importante también.
Yes. See, there are some different, or at least two different water regimes. One is is completely public, and the other one is private but publicly conditioned by the law, of course. No, because. And yes, this is a quite complex institutional fabric. I mean, it's.
And what is the percentage like involved between the public and the private?
What is the percentage? ¿El porcentaje?
I'm not sure, but 60-40.
60 public or
Private.
private 60 and 40 public.
Okay.
Something like this.
Just very quickly, remember that we're going to have a working session with Matías, so perhaps now it's useful to ask the question so the group that will be working with Matías can remember the question and we can take advantage of this time together. So Alberto, you can ask the question, and if there's any other question ask it so the group that will be working with Matías can explore those questions with him.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Matías. I really like your way of thinking. And I wanted to know your opinion in how can we change the decision-making that we have now for making more, like to promote popular participation?
Well, it is very complex because, for example, the role. Yeah.
We're going to ask the questions and we're taking notes. I'm also in the group with you, so we'll.
Yes, I think so. Because it's very wow.
It'll take too long.
I would like you, please, to elaborate on an extreme case, just to think about this. What would be the consequences in terms of governance if the cultural heritage has all the power? What would happen, let's say, in terms of water governance or agriculture? What would happen if people would have all the power? Would it be good? Would it be wrong?
I don't know, but the problem is if we are in the maybe people don't want all the power. I mean, right now.
I'm just trying to figure it out what things we should not be like supported in the cultural heritage, because sometimes that cultural heritage, even though you like it, even though you want to preserve it, may not be very much sustainable in a way.
Yeah, sure. Now, regarding governance, my hypothesis is people want government give solutions to their problems. The idea of being strongly involved in a process in which they participate in defining these solutions is not very clear. I mean, it's not. But we can discuss later because it's very, it's a very roughly statement that we need to introduce subtle comments to this. Okay. So let's go ahead.
Thank you so much, Matías, for being here.